So shine, With great honor and love, we invite our father, Rav Aronson Shlita, to be Mesader Kiddushin, to arrange the marriage, and Rav Felder Shlita and Rav Oziel Shlita to be Yidei Kiddushin.
Jody, Yaakov, Tan, Kala. This moment, as you stand under the chuppah on the threshold of married life together, you are joined by your respective parents and families. We are grateful that Hashem Yisborach, that your grandfather, Chaim Kislasi, is with us today, and we wish him good health and may be Esrim. Your maternal grandmother, Sima Nachmias, is unable to make the trip from Israel, but we are certain that she is thinking of you at this time and sending her blessings to you. Pasuk in Tehillim states, Yismach Yisrael b'yosav, Israel shall rejoice in its maker. Our tradition interprets the verse, Israel shall rejoice with their ancestors, and teaches that the time of rejoicing, all souls of the deceased, forebearers, the Chatan and Kala, are present at the wedding. So let us remember Jody's maternal grandmother, Georgette Kislasi, and her paternal grandfather, Yehuda Nachmias, Aleihem HaShalom. As well, we recall Yaakov's grandparents, Jacob and Jane Aronson, Kai and Marion Besson, Aleihem HaShalom. And we know that they too are all sharing in the simcha, enjoying those present in showering their blessings on you. We begin with the Kiddushin, with betrothal, with the covenant of commitment of marriage, the first part of the ceremony of Erusin Kiddushin. Rabbi Felder and Rabbi Oziel will serve as witnesses, as designated witnesses. Yaakov, would you designate Rabbi Felder and Rabbi Oziel as the designated witnesses to the Kiddushin? Baruch Ato Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei Riagofen. Baruch Ato Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu mitzvosav v'tzivanu al ha'arayos v'yasar lanu es ha'arusos v'hitir lanu es hanesuos lanu al yidei chuppah v'kiddushin. Baruch Ato Adonai Kadesh Amo Yisrael, Al Yedei Chuppah V'Kiddushin. This your ring, yeah? Yaakov, this is your ring. It's worth something of value, with gold being what it is. But it's worth a minimum value, but a value. Okay, no expectations. Take the ring. Jody, you would extend your right index finger, please. Yaakov. At this time, we call upon Rav Yaakov Felder to read the Ksuba.
בחמישי בשבת, שמונה יום לחודש תמוז, שנת 5 משמעמס, ושיבה משניים, לבריאה סייכון. במינין שם המונים כאן, תורנל הסמוכו לטורונטו. איך הבוקר יעקב חיים בן הרב דוב נגסיל עומר לא להדוב בסולטו, סורה בסר מוישה. הבדי להינטו כדאז מוישה בישראל. בנו הפעל פה עקר ואיזה בפרנס הסגיר הליכי, גדולת גובן יודוין, לפולפן המורקת מזונן בפרנס לשען בקושטו. והיב הליכי מרב סולייכי, Kesser tut sich Mossen der Woche sich mit der Reise. Sie neichig, sie zeichig, sie bekeichig, mehr und besichig Karakala. Die Zwias Maras, Sora besulte da, da habe es leider hinter. Bei denen du dann alles leider bei Abu, bei mit Kesser, bei mit Zor, bei mit Achschiten, bei meinen Legusche, Beschmusche dir, Beschmusche der Arze. Akot Kibul Allah, Jakob Chaim, Hassandanan, the Meyes of Hukim Kesser Zor. Sobi, Rabbi Yaakov Chaim, Chazandana, Moisislam, in delay, Oidi es Hukim Kesef Tzorov, Achayim Kenekra. Sachakol Messiah, Hukim Kesef Tzorov. Bekam Rabbi Yaakov Chaim, Chazandana. Achayim Shakzudadon, Dundin, Seseptadok, Amosalam, Alayarsa, Kasroi, Isbora Mikoshwar, Nilsen, the Kinyonik, Nisis, Chois Koshmai. The Kanoi, the Osanan, and the Mikvah. Nilsen, the Islam Achayim, the Lesline Achayim. School in Yoim Achayim, Barahoim, the Frame, Shakzudadon, the Dundin, Seseptadok, Binoi, Bafilu, and Lima Dal Kasboy, Chayim was a Chayim, and Yom, and Anna Lalom. Bachayim Shem Shakzudadon, the Dundin, the Seseptadok, Kibalov, Rabbi Yaakov Chaim, the Sandanan, the Chayim, the Seseptadok, the Seseptadok, the Nogim, and Nas Israel, Asuim, Kitikun, Chachamenu, the Friend, the Brocha. The Lakas Machta, the Lakatayse, the Shtar. The Kanina, Min Rabbi Yaakov Chaim, and Rabbi Dov, the Seal, the Sandanan, the Moras Sora, Basar Beisha, the Sultada, Al Koma, the Kosta, the Furish Lael, the Mona, the Kosta, the Taite. Akoel, Shor, the Kayom. Chizkiyo, Yaisid, Moshe, Ben, Meshulam, Mordcha, Alevi, A. Ari, Yehuda, Ben, Avraham, Yitzchak, Alevi, A.
interlude between the two portions of the marriage ceremony. It's time for me to say a few words to the bride. This is a special day for you, but it's as well a special day for your families. The Nachmias family, Jody's marriage represents the first of the children to be married, and that, like all firsts, evokes certain emotions, certain special feelings. And we look forward in the not too distant future, the very near future as a matter of fact, once the ball gets rolling, to Sigal and to Tali and to many more simplest the Nachmias family. For us, the Aronson family, Yaakov is the last of the children to get married. And that too evokes a certain very distinct emotional feeling of conclusion, of completing a cycle. And we too, the Aronsons, are filled with joy and with happiness for you, for Jody, and for our whole family. But today is not so much about us, it's about you. It's your day. It's your special day. It's your defining moment. It's your milestone on the next leg of your journey through life. You met on a journey, on a jump journey to Israel. I can't help but think of Yaakov Avinu, our forefather Jacob, who also had a journey, and at the end of his journey he met his beloved Rachel, Rachel. From what we heard, it wasn't too long before Yaakov met Jody on this jump trip to Israel. And we also heard very early what a wonderful girl she was, and how did the boys put it? She's a keeper. If Yaakov, our tradition tells us, had Kfitzat Haderech, which means a miraculously short journey. In Hebrew, Kfitzat Haderech means a jumping journey. Kfitzat is jumping, meaning he got there quickly. And so after a period of time of looking for this one and that one, very quickly there was a Kfitzat Haderech on this jump trip to Israel. And once again, the land of Israel serves as a uniting force, not only of our people, but of our two young people standing before us. In fact, more than Jacob, our father, who met his Rachel leaving Eretz Israel, leaving Israel, you had the good fortune to meet each other on the way to Israel and in Israel. That is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to serve as a uniting force in your lives, in the lives of our people, in our history, in our present, in our future. To paraphrase a famous quote, it was one small jump to Israel and a giant leap into marriage. But you two possess some of the finest qualities that serves as the basis for a wonderful marriage. You, Jody, are beautiful, you're soft, you're sweet, you're kind. In fact, your career choice in early childhood education suggests your affection for young people, you're willing to care and nurture. It's not surprising that Yaakov's nieces and nephews took to you immediately when they first met you. And in fact, I don't know if you know it or not, but you are their DJ, their Doda Jody. And Yaakov, you too have some sterling qualities. You too, despite that rough, tough exterior, are caring, you're empathetic, you have a strong sense of rectitude, of responsibility, of duty, which led you, among other things, to volunteer for the IDF. That's you, Yaakov. And together, you'll blend, you'll complement each other, and you'll bring and create a home that has the sterling qualities that you both possess. It's not necessarily so easy. This is a little fatherly and rabbinic advice for two people to come together. But what you do need, and what I think that you ought to remember as you go through life, always think of your initials. Sarah, Yaakov, Chaim, Siach. That means sikha, conversation, communication, dialogue. Speak not at each other, but to each other. Listen to each other. Dialogue, not monologue. And the life that you lead together be blessed with harmony and with love and affection. A bracha that I'd like to offer to you is based on this upcoming week's Torah reading portion, Parashat Chukas. It tells of a transition in the lives of our people, Israel, who at the 40th year completed their trek in the wilderness and began to assume gradually the responsibilities of normal life, if you will, as they were on the threshold of entering into the Promised Land. It was at that year that a number of miraculous, nurturing, supporting, supernatural features that enabled them to make that trek and that journey in the wilderness began gradually to disappear and remove. And our Torah reading tells us about two of those ingredients. About the Ananei HaKavod and the Be'er that was about to depart as the people of Israel were about to enter into the land of Israel. I would suggest to you that while those two features, the Ananim and the Be'er, may have been removed, you too, both of you, in building your home, have the opportunity of recreating, of reestablishing those clouds of glory and that wellspring of water. What do I mean? The Ananei HaKavod represents the divine presence. The Ananei HaKavod refers to the presence of the Shekhinah in the camp of Israel. And the home that you build, the home that you create, can be infused with those Ananei HaKavod. It's not surprising that our tradition tells us of Sarah, that's your Hebrew name, of Mother Sarah. Shahaya Anan Ashur Ala Ohem. There was a cloud that hovered over her tent because the Shekhinah was always present. And my blessing to you is that those Ananei HaKavod should be present in your lives. The Shekhinah should rest in your home. The presence should be palpable, should be felt, should be experienced. And we'll have not just a home, but a sanctuary. A place of quiet in the tumultuous world, of stability and security, of love and affection and authenticity. That's the Ananei HaKavod. The second gift that you have is the Be'er, that well. You have so much to draw from. The waters of tradition, whether it's Ashkenazi tradition and Sephardic tradition. from your ancestors, from your grandparents, from your parents who are committed to the synagogue, to your family, Yaakov, who has a tradition from which you can draw as well, whether it's the Aronson family or the Besson family. People who, though born in North America, lived lives committed to Torah, to tradition. The Besson home in particular was a renowned home of Torah, of Gemilut Chasadim, of generosity, of fidelity to Torah, of values of Torah, of Zionism, religious Zionism. You can draw from that well, and you can build and sustain yourselves from that well of feelings. And so my blessing to you is that may the Ananei HaKavod and that be'er, that wellspring, watering, may you find those things in your home, may it nurture you, may it sustain you. And like the people of Israel with regard to the be'er, Oz Yashir Yisrael, they sang. It will bring joy, happiness, a song in your life. And not only a song, but with the two of you, Shira Chadasha, a new, invigorated, vital song of inspiration, of spiritual fulfillment, of contentment, and of happiness. And we look forward, all our families, to having mazel and nachat and bracha and hatzlacha in your future life together, and all the happiness in the future. In accordance with the Sephardic tradition, at this juncture, the Chatan dons the talit under the chuppah for the first time. Call on Rabbi Oziel, the Rav of Petach Tikva Synagogue, to chant the Shechirah.
Sabri marana, Baruch Ata Adonai, Elohei Melech Ha'olam, Borei Feri HaGefen, Baruch Ata Adonai, Elohei Melech Ha'olam, שהכל ברא לכבודו. אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני, ברוך שמו, אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצר האדם. אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני, ברוך שמו, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר יצר את האדם בצלמו, בצלם דמות תבניתו, והתקינו ממנו בניין עד עד. ברוך אתה אדוני, ברוך הוא ברוך שמו, יוצר האדם. אמן. סוס תסיס ותגן העקרה, בקיבוץ בניה לתוכה, בשמחה, ברוך אתה אדוני, משמח ציון בבניה, שמח תשמח רעים האהובים, כשמחך יצירך בגן עדן מקדם. ברוך אתה אדוני, משמח חתן וכלה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר ברא ששון ושמחה, חתן וכלה, גילה רינה דיצה וחדווה, אהבה ואחווה, שלום ולרעות. מהרה אדוני אלוהינו ישמע בערי יהודה ובחוצות ירושלים, כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה, כל מצהלות חתנים מחופתם ונערים ממשתה נגינתם. ברוך אתה אדוני, משמח חתן עם הכלה.
Once again, in accordance with Sephardic tradition, as we conclude, or about to conclude the ceremony, the Chatan and the Kala will approach the Aron, the Ark, and will offer a silent prayer between themselves to God for marriage that is loving, caring, successful. joy, we recall that no simcha, no happiness is truly complete as long as the temple remains destroyed and the world remains unredeemed. In commemoration of that Chatan, you pray.